Mm. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel and another book review. Imagine a marriage frozen in the moment after a catastrophe, too numb to end, but too wounded to heal. Now imagine a stranger stepping into their apartment for a few days and everything shifting. Grief loosens, hope flickers, and they start to wonder whether love can survive its own aftershock. So today we're reading April Snow by Sohn Won-pyung, translated by Jamie Chang, right? Yeah. And this is a quiet story, but it's a piercing and perceptive short story about trauma, empathy, and the fragile work of trying to begin again, which I'm sure many people have experienced. So, yeah, hello, everybody. I'm Barry. This is Soul Book Club, where I review Korean literature in translation, most of the time. If that's your thing, hit the subscribe button and the other things. And let's get into it. So, April Snow is a short story by Sohn Won-pyung, translated by Jamie Chang, and it was published in December of 2021. And it's part of the Asia Publishers Modern Korean Literature series. And I've reviewed several stories from that collection. There's a playlist on the channel. You can find quite a few other reviews there. Fantastic series. And the editions, as I've mentioned before, are also fantastic. So you get the original Korean story and the English translation, and you usually get like an essay or an afterword by the writer or by a critic or something like that. So anyway, very worth picking up if you can get hold of them. And Son, I'm sure some readers will be aware, made waves with her debut novel Almond in 2017. And that is the story of a young man with a rare brain condition. And that became a bestseller. It won lots of fans. It's translated into English and several other languages where it was also very popular. And I believe it was given a boost by one of the members of BTS who was pictured reading it on a bench or who talked about it somewhere, something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, some guy in BTS helped make that book popular, and I'm sure Son was very appreciative of getting that kind of publicity. Anyway, she also has another novel called Counterattack of the 30, which I haven't read yet. I've been looking forward to reading that one, but I've just got other things to read just now. But that one was published within the last few months. The English translation was published in the last few months. And so, yeah, so Son is definitely building a name for herself in in international literature with these translations. But this is a short story. And as she explains in an interesting author's note, this was one of the first stories that she ever had published. And it's a very different story from Almond. It was actually written before that breakthrough novel. And as she explained, Almond was written 4 months after the birth of her child, but April Snow was written just 2 months after giving birth. So it was written just as she had become a new mother. And it's a story about a relationship struggling under very difficult circumstances. And she writes in her author's note that the sentiment encompassing the story is built on the feeling of something extraordinary but still possible. So, what are the difficult circumstances the couple in the story are dealing with? So, we are introduced to a couple at the beginning of the story whose relationship is continuing, but under the shadow of some kind of traumatic event. So, we don't initially know exactly what happened, but there are hints that some kind of life changing event has happened to them recently, and they're struggling to maintain their relationship. And you can kind of guess what the nature of this problem is. And the story is told from the point of view of an unnamed male narrator as he describes this faltering relationship with his wife, Jenny. Jenny obsessively embroiders shapeless patterns as a way of coping with her trauma and seems to hold some resentment toward her husband. She blames him in some way for their current predicament. And the narrator is exhausted, but still hopeful. And while his wife wants to separate, he believes that, as he says, flowers would bloom again, that perhaps their relationship can be saved. He has these recurring nightmares that Jenny dies, but afterward he feels devastated but relieved. And at one point he says, it seems like they will be stuck in this nightmare reality for eternity. And so the story poses this question: can these two people who once loved each other rekindle that love after a devastating tragedy? Will they continue in this sort of limbo, like purgatorial nightmare, or will they inevitably separate as Jenny wants? But then this ongoing nightmare, this situation is interrupted by an outsider who comes to live with them and has some strange effects on their relationship. So, who is this third person, and how do they enter this married couple's life? This married couple's marriage. So, Marie is a traveler from Finland who rents a room from the couple for a few days, and she's come to Seoul to see her favorite K-pop band in concert. Marie seems to have some trauma of her own from her childhood or from her past. And at first, her presence is inconvenient, but she is such a warm and sort of quirky and unusual character that she seems to break the couple out of the sort of malaise or their current feeling. And it seems like they might potentially be able to recover what it was that they have lost, and they begin to see that maybe they could be happy again. But all of this is very tentative and fragile. So the story circles around this question: can a relationship survive under the weight of trauma? And Son's writing here is very is subtle. She hints at the deeper emotions lying beneath the outward appearances of the characters, and she creates an atmosphere of loss and pain. We see how love has crumbled here and the difficulty of rebuilding it. Some readers, if you look at the online reviews, have been disappointed because they've came to this story after reading Almond, and it's a very different reading experience from the novel that sort of made her reputation. But it does tackle some similar ideas. It's about the possibility of empathy and the role of empathy in our lives. And the questions the story poses will, I think, linger in the minds of many readers after reading this very delicate short story. So there were some things that worked for me here. So she withholds the nature of the trauma, and by sort of delaying the exact nature of the traumatic experience, someone keeps our attention on how grief works and or how trauma works, and not just the why it's happened. And then the Marie character is kind of interesting. She's a counterpoint character, right? She's kind of like a tuning fork. She sort of changes the frequency of their apartment. She's not really a savior or a villain. She just sort of changes the atmosphere, and that allows them to sort of navigate this new space of their relationship a little bit differently. And then there's moral ambiguity. The narrator's dream about Jenny's death sort of shades his character in some interesting ways. And if you're drawn to intimate or psychologically precise fiction, stories where the stakes are sort of internal, then April Snow is definitely worth reading, and it's especially worth picking up if you're interested in how literature represents trauma without sort of sensationalizing, sort of trying to be sensational. And anyway, yeah, so like I said, April Snow is part of the Asia Publishers K-Fiction series, so try and pick it up if you can. And if you've read any of her other works, if you've read Almond, please let me know what you think of that. I've reviewed that on the channel, I think, already. I'll try and read Counterattacks at 30 sometime soon. If you've read it, let me know what you thought. And yeah, so feel free to leave a comment. Did you want the couple in this story to stay together? Did you think that they should have separated, or what do you think should have happened to them? And anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Barry Welsh. This is Soul Book Club, and until next time, keep reading, and see you in the next video.